Welcome back to Carmageddon Car Chat here with Ben Carpenter. And today I have a guest, a friend of mine from high school that I actually haven't hung out with him in a few years. So it's nice to get back together with him. But today I have my friend Gabe Ghouls. So hey Gabe, how's it going?
Good, how are you, Ben?
I'm doing good. So on this, my fifth episode, today we're going to be talking with Gabe here about his 2004...
Three. No, it is four. It is four.
Yeah, 2004
Sorry.
Nissan 350z. So I guess just sort of start right off, what's the story behind getting this car?
So I've always really been a fan of sports cars.
Yeah.
Sportier cars, and I've always wanted to have a manual too. So then I've seen a couple different 350Z builds while scrolling through TikTok, and then I've just figured that I should probably have one of those too, and then it was a good car to get to learn stick because I've never had one before, and I don't know, it's just a lot more innovative.
So you learn stick, so with your Nissan?
Yep, I learned stick in that car.
Wow, I find that kind of pretty crazy because, at least for me, if I were to have a car like that, I feel like I'd want to learn stick first before I got such a cool car.
Like a beater car?
Yeah, like my dad's 2007 Toyota Corolla or something.
It was an experience for sure.
Yeah, so you said that you had seen stuff about 350Zs on TikTok, and so would you say that it's thanks to TikTok that you have this car, or what?
Probably. Sort of. I'd say most of it came from TikTok, but I've also just been a really big fan of Japanese car culture.
Yeah.
So like 350Zs and Nissan GTRs and all those different kind of cars. I don't know. They've always had a soft spot in my heart.
Yeah, I feel like the sort of Japanese foreign sports market, I feel like is really like not looked at enough and appreciated by the American market because. I mean, you have, of course, Toyota and Honda and Nissan, the big three Japanese companies that really, as far back as the 80s, really started kind of like the compact sports car culture that started becoming popular in the 90s in America. So,
yeah.
And I thought, I mean, of course, I've known about your car for a while, and so when I started up this car chat series, I mean, of course, I love and appreciate all my friends' cars that I've talked to so far, but none of them have a car quite like yours, a sporty car like yours. That's why. So, have you done any, so you do your own work on your car, right? And so, have you done, modifications or anything on it?
A couple. So when I originally bought the car, the guy I bought it from, he put an exhaust system in it, and he put in an oil cooler. But other than that, it was completely stock. So then when I got it, I put in new headlights, new tail lights, new turn signals on the rear, and on the interior side, I put in a quick-release steering wheel, and new shift knob, new handbrake handle, new shift boot. Let's see. Oh, and I also put window louvers on the rear, and then on I don't know what it's called, but the little rear window, not the back, but the little one on the side, kind of like your triangle window on the van. Yeah. So I put louvers on there, and the rear, and I'm in the process of putting in a Starlight headliner right now, but that's becoming a very big challenge.
So you said something about quick release.
Yeah, it's called
what's that?
NRG quick release. So it's got a little hub you put on, and then it just gives you the ability to take your steering wheel off the car. So you can take it off, and then it locks back on, so you can take it off when you're not driving.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
My car doesn't do that.
It's nothing other than for no practical reason other than just for cosmetics and the ability to say I can take my steering wheel out of my car.
Yeah. Well, having that quick release, I mean, even though it really has no actual, use for it in a way, it still must be some kind of cool feature that,
It is fun because you don't see it very often, but I guess it'd be more so for drift applications because you got the full roll cage in your car and your helmet trying to get in with like a full fire suit would be kind of hard. So normally they put them in drift cars so you can have that extra space to get in.
Yeah.
But I put it on because I thought it looks cool, and you can get much cooler designs than with like stock steering wheels.
So like, can you like, you're like, well, today Monday I'm gonna choose this steering wheel, and then Wednesday I'm actually gonna put in this different color. Like, can you have different steering wheels?
I could, but they're like $400 a piece, so they would be a pretty expensive to swap steering wheels for the day.
Well, I mean, still, that'd be something cool. Like, I'm tired of the steering wheel. I'm feeling blue today. I'm feeling blue. I'm feeling leather. Feeling the blue leather steering wheel today. I don't know. I guess, like, what about... I don't know. Just what do you love the most about having this car, I suppose?
The sound.
The sound.
It sounds so good. I love the sound of the exhaust.
Is it dual or single?
Single.
Single exhaust. Okay, so I figured. But I'm sure it is, like, you know... I won't know what a cool exhaust sounds like, so I don't have a 4-cylinder.
It's very loud and obnoxious.
Yeah, are you one of those people that be driving?
I absolutely am one of those
at like
people.
1 a.m.?
Absolutely. Nighttime is the best time.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God. I may have to reconsider friendship. But no, I think... I don't know. I mean, do you ever notice or see that, like, you get people looking at your car?
Absolutely. Everywhere I go. Everyone is always turning heads.
Yeah.
Whether they're driving or if they're walking. I see people looking at me at stoplights. It draws a lot of attention.
Yeah. Well, probably with exhaust, too.
That too.
I mean, of course, I'm very much more like, you know, a classic car kind of guy. But, I mean, even with your car, of course, my head's going to turn.
Yeah.
Because... I mean, it's just a cool car. You know, it's a cool sporty car. I mean, the actual look of it, there are obviously more flashy, sporty cars. But I think sort of the, like, simplicity of it, but still, like, the kind of, the, like, sporty, you know, design of it. It's just, it is that perfect, I think, combination to grab attention, because compared to other sports cars, it may not stand out, but then compared to, I don't know, like just a regular family sedan, it is going to stand out. So I think that's where it, like, I think that's where it exceeds in styling.
I agree.
But yeah, so when you first got this car, of course, you said that you learned manual on it. So at first, was it kind of like, when you were learning to use manual, were like, oh, was this really worth it?
I think so. There was a couple times where I was questioning it, but not really questioning getting the car, but just seeing if I'd actually be able to drive it, because it definitely did take some getting used to. I definitely stalled it out quite a few times when I first got it. I'm sure,
yeah.
But it really easy is to get the hang of. I'd say after maybe a couple hours of driving, I had it just fine, and then after the first week of having it, I haven't really stalled it since. Yeah.
I feel I'm a very impatient person, and so I feel like if I had a car like that and I was trying to relearn manual and actually do well at it, and like I didn't, of course, get it right away, which nobody really does.
Yeah.
I would just be like, well, maybe I'll just sell this car if I can't actually live to the full experience of it. But it's just one of those things where it just takes patience. And so obviously, because like, I mean, it's your baby essentially. I'm sure you're very like, sort of like cautious or like protective about it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very particular about who gets to drive it. I think only one other person has actually driven it, and it was only because he came with me to pick it up and drive it back home for me, because I didn't want to learn how to drive manual in the cities, which is where we picked it up.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask to drive it, because I haven't driven manual in 5 years.
I don't know you can drive manual.
I might take you up on that offer. Well, I suppose I just knew what I was going to say, but it just went right out of my head. So I don't know, maybe I'll come back to think about it. So I guess I will talk a little bit, I have a lot written here, about sort of the history of like the Nissan 350z. I always like to sort of give a little background about people's cars when they come on here, because that's my area of like expertise. Is I like to know everything I can about a car, about its history. So the Nissan 350z is a part of Nissan's Z-car line, which is their line of, sports cars that have been in production since 1969. So actually it's been around for longer than what I expected it to be. I thought it was something more newer, or at least like maybe only back to the 80s, but it goes back over 50 years. So with your car in particular, you have a fifth generation Nissan Z car, which was produced for the 2003 to the 2009 model years, so only 6 years. And it did come in a coupe, which you have, but it also did come as a roadster, which I think having a roadster would be pretty cool. Having a top-down convertible.
I think they are cool, but I don't really like the looks of the soft tops on them. Some cars it works, so like
I know what you like. Soft tops usually I feel like they only look good when the top is down. Exactly. In my opinion,
I agree.
When the top is up, it just looks kind of silly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like very few cars have done good at designing soft tops where it looks good when the top is both up and down. But yeah, so you have a fifth generation, and I guess to point out, the Roadster actually was introduced a year after the coupe. So for the first model year, there was just the coupe. So do you know it came in different trim levels?
Yeah.
So there's the base, enthusiast, performance. I think these are some interesting names. Touring and track versions. Do you know what version yours is?
Enthusiast.
Enthusiast. Sounds very enthusiastic, doesn't it? Yeah. So kind of like a little background of like the design of it. So the designer was, it's easy name to pronounce, but I feel like Diane Allen, and it was he designed it back in like 1999, 2000. But originally the design for the 350Z had actually, if we go back to 1997, Nissan had come up with a concept car where they actually tried to relaunch the Datsun 240, but as a Nissan. And so in 1999, they revealed at the 1999 North American International Auto Show, they revealed the 1999 concept of the Nissan 240, and it didn't receive that great of reception. People said that it looked too retro, and I feel like in the 90s and early 2000s, there's a time period where car manufacturers tried going for this like retro aesthetic. I mean, look at like Ford when they came out with the T-Bird retro design in the early 2000s, and then you have like the the Chrysler PT Cruiser, and like the Chevy HHR, but yeah. So even though that concept car wasn't that greatly received, it did, launch what would become the fourth gen. Sorry, not the fourth gen. I keep saying fourth gen. The fifth gen Nissan 350Z. Okay, so I don't want to keep sounding too like repetitive here, but so to talk more about like the whole Z car line, the Z car line, it had 7 generations. The first will actually, I think 3 generations. In Japan, they were Nissans, but when they were shipped over to America, they were known as Datsuns. And of course, Datsun, if you don't know what the listeners out there, Datsun was a brand that was owned by Nissan, and Datsun had been around from 1931 to 86. But from 58 to 86, vehicles that were exported by Nissan were known as Datsun. So that's why sometimes you'll see things referred to as Nissan and Datsun, even though they're the same car. Mm-hmm. And that's because, in America, they're Datsun, but over in, Asia, it's Nissan, which I think it's weird, but also, a cool thing for automobile companies to do when they export a car and have it under a different name brand. Mm-hmm. Because on the one hand, if you know about your cars, you know a Datsun is a Nissan. But if you don't know about cars, I feel like that'd be kind of confusing. What's a Datsun? But it's, so the Z car wasn't actually really Nissan. I think the Z car was Nissan's sort of first really popular actual meant to be a sports car. Mm-hmm. But its predecessor, which actually I don't need to search it out because I know it was the predecessor before it was, I think it was simply just known as the Nissan sports car, but I think in Japan I think it was known as the Nissan Fairlady, which was a roadster that was supposed to be sporty. And so I guess I consider that to be sort of Nissan's real original sports car. And so that only lasted through the 60s. But then finally Nissan came out with the Z car, and that's when they were really here's our sports car for all of your sports enthusiasts that, we're Nissan. Right. See, we can do it. But I really do like those sort of earlier generation Z cars. I just really like the design, the long hood, and then sort of the smaller passenger and back area. And I actually was just at a car show last weekend in Taconite, and there was I think it was the 74 Datsun 240, and it was a neon green color, and it was really cool because I don't think I've ever actually seen one in real life before that point. And I actually don't think I ever really even heard of or looked into early Z cars like that. And so, but my favorite generation is actually third gen Nissan 350z's, which one thing that I really like about the styling of those is back in the 80s, of course, you have the flip up headlights, which I don't know why those were popular because, they were known to have problems with, the older they get. Mm-hmm. They either take a long time to, flip up, or they don't even flip up at all. Right. And the thing with the 300ZX design, it was a half flip up. Yeah. Where when they were down, you could still see kind of half the headlight. And so they only really came up halfway, which I actually think is I think it's actually a pretty unique, cool design. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I just really love those. The 80s cars is just my favorites to me. And then the fourth gen Nissan Z car, which was really just sort of, I guess, a redesign of the previous generation. I really. I wish I had I guess I can show you pictures if you've never seen pictures before, but I guess I'll search up just a 1991 Nissan 300ZX. Now, I almost like this design just as much as the previous design. Yeah. I don't know, I just think it's, I don't know, I think it's simple, but there's just something that it's very aerodynamic. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I just feel like Nissan with their Z cars, they always knew how to design them in a way where they grabbed people's attention. Yeah. I feel like. Yeah, and so of course, and also another thing that I discovered because the generation after yours is the 370Z. Yep. And I think the reason why that it changed numbers is because your generation was 350, and I think because it had a 3.5 liter
Yep.
engine, and the generation after had 3.7, so that's why they called it 370. I feel that was very hard to figure out, but that's something that I didn't know, and when I figured it out, I'm like, that makes sense.
Right.
But I also have here too, because I also like to see, car companies, especially when a sporty car, they're gonna, try to even make it more sporty and, enter into different things. And so when it came to motorsports, they entered the 350Z into the Grand Am Cup, which in 2003 it won third place, and in 2004 won second place. So I thought that was kind of a cool, little fun fact. And of course, when they tuned it to make it more of a racy sports car, and so they used a 4.5 liter V8 versus just the regular V6, which, of course you're going to put a V8 in there if you're going to race it. But I guess other things too, it became very popular with die-cast manufacturers and Hot Wheels, and I know to the probably two listeners that are going to listen to this, you can't see it, but I have a 2009 Nissan 350z 1/24th scale, which I just love die-cast models. I have over 80 die-cast scale models, and so I'm a little excessive. And then, of course, it also benefited from popularity being used in the Fast and the Furious movie, specifically Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. And I feel like, kind of going back to what I mentioned before about the popularity of Japanese sports cars. I mean, Fast and the Furious, well, that's one other topic. Too many movies. Haven't seen any of them, but I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like those Japanese cars, I don't know, there's so much that people do with them to just, I don't know, just make them so cool. And it always amazes me, because I'm more of a, aesthetic kind of person when it comes to cars. I'm not really, mechanical or, the whole, modifying it, but people that can modify their cars, I just think that's in a way, it's kind of like an art form, in my opinion.
Agree.
Cars are an art form, and I think that's why I love them so much, because it is art, and it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I guess, that pretty much covers everything that I want to talk about the 350Z and sort of its history and a little bit about other Nissan. But I guess, anything else about your car that you just want to share or put out there? Do you have any is there any sort of special or unique or funny memories that you have with it or anything?
There was one time actually when I brought it home. That morning after, I didn't have to work, so I was going to drive around town again, trying to figure out how to drive stick. And I got stuck at the stoplight down by Burger King. I stalled the car once, and the light turned green. I stalled it out trying to go, and then I looked at my mirrors and realized there was cars backing up behind me. So then I was trying to hurry up and get out of there, and stalled it a second time.
Oh, jeez.
So then these people started honking at me, and I was waving at them. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I'm sorry. Tried to go a third time. Stalled it out, and the light turned yellow. So then I made these people behind me miss the green light because I stalled my car 3 times in a row.
Wow.
And yeah, that was a day for sure. It was definitely embarrassing, but
wow,
what can you do?
You sound like a menace. These poor people stuck behind you.
I know. I actually did it.
And
on
you're
purpose.
you're like, you know what? I'll make these people wait and even stare at my car even longer.
That's right.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think your car, no offense, but I don't think it's my favorite car of all my friends that I have, but I think it is the coolest car of all my friends.
We'll take it.
Because nobody else has really a sporty car. But I love your car, and I love that I got the opportunity to talk with you about it. I think it's just very interesting that, you're just 20 years old, and,
Not yet.
Not
19.
That's right. Oh, you're just a baby. Oh my God, you're just a baby. So wait, so you got this car. When did you get this car?
Last summer. So I think it was like last May.
So you're only 18 when you got this car.
Yep.
Wow. And do you mind if I ask how much was it?
10 grand.
10 go. Well, that's not too bad.
It was all right. For around here, it was a pretty good deal. I've seen a couple of them going for like 13 and 15,000.
I think 10 grand is pretty. How many miles did it have on it?
152,000 when I bought it.
I suppose that's not too bad for like a 17-year-old car.
Mm-hmm.
It's 19 years old. Can you believe that?
I know, we're the same age.
Man, imagine being like the same age as your car. That's kind of embarrassing. But in your case, I think it's pretty cool.
I agree.
Your car stands the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed talking about your car with me.
Do.
Because I always enjoy talking about cars in general with people, but getting a chance to sit down with them and hear their story, but also for me, hopefully, to not bore you with like maybe things you know about your car or history. I hope you learn something more about your car from this. But to the listeners or listener out there, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I don't know when the next one will come out. Whoever I can wrangle, one of my friends to come do this. But you can go back and listen to my other Carmageddon car chat videos, or just check out any of my content on YouTube. Or I also have my Instagram, Carmageddon Car Chat, and I believe the username for that is BenDreamCars21. Anyways, thanks for listening. Hope you have a great day, and if you have a car, appreciate it, learn about it, and just have fun.